Welcome back to another episode of the Jesse Rosinsky Show. And today, I've heard both people say good thing we got out of the WHO because it was a waste of money. I've heard people say that they think it's a great thing and we should be part of it. I don't think any of it should be done by executive fiat, at least rejoining or any of it. But of course we're back in it because of executive fiat, like everything else that's happened in the last couple of weeks. But I could see how both sides, there's. It's one of those things where there's two sides to it. We're being in it's a good thing. Being out of it's a good thing too. But give off some numbers and some of my feelings on. Why I think that dropping them like a bad habit was a good thing. Unless, rejoining it, that could be a good thing. But, unless they've actually made real changes to fix their incompetence and how they've handled all of this COVID stuff, I really don't think we should be giving them as much money as we do. But I have my reasons. I'm going to let it go. Well, I'll figure it out. But did you know, fun fact, America is the only country that gives over $100 million to the WHO. We give them 24% of the money they make. How many countries are in? America itself gives them 24%. The next closest, at just a few million short of half of what America pays, is China, which pays roughly 12% of the money that the WHO receives to run and do everything they have to do. Because there's a big world, all kinds of stuff. Okay, so a lot of people didn't know that. Only 13 countries pay more than $10 million, which includes the U.S. and China, like I just mentioned. And there's 44 countries that pay less than $1 million each year to the WHO for them to do everything they have to do, all their services. They do research, look into all this stuff. They can be very useful. Useful if they're run properly. And again, the top 10 list is U.S., China, Japan, Germany, U.K., France, Italy, Brazil, Canada, and Russia. But let's get back into that. We give them 24%. It's pretty much a quarter of the money they have to run comes from the United States. 24 point something. 12% comes from China. So China gives up 88% of their money. Which the way their economy is bustling and they're making things it makes sense. Population-wise, they got a lot more to worry about. But my problem with it is we give that much, and the rest of the world gives combined 88% of the money that they get to run. Why did everything with COVID go the way they did? That's a serious, honest question. How many deaths were caused because they just listened to every word that China, it's not transmittable from person to person. Yeah. How'd that one work out? Didn't need to quarantine or worry about travel bans or even masks because it wasn't transmittable. Anything wasn't transmittable. Shutdowns. No need to do that because there's no harm to any of us. They continuously got stuff wrong the entire year. And look how many people in the whole entire world have died because of COVID, have been infected with COVID. The whole entire world's economy, how much damage was done to that? Because they were absolutely wrong about all of it. And the biggest part that bothers me is that they finally just actually were able, China finally just let them get people on the ground here in the last couple of weeks to finally investigate the origins of it over a year later. Over a year. If they're supposed to be there, they're getting money from everybody. They should have had people in there immediately, when other things happen. Because we would have found out so much more just by doing that. Instead of just taking China's word, and we all listened to every single thing the WHO said about mass quarantining, everything. They just lopped up whatever they were told by the Chinese without actually doing anything to back any of it up. So, I have a problem when literally the whole entire world to include China, which I still think is lying about their numbers. I mean, why wouldn't they? They are communists after all. But 88% of their money comes from the whole entire world, including the U.S., and they took everything that China said as gold, didn't send anyone in to investigate anything for over a year after all this started in China. After over a year. That is ridiculous. But it's like all that, they just lopped everything up, didn't do anything, and were wrong about everything. And the millions of deaths, way more infections, and the economy all across the board. It's kind of had some horrific damage done to it because of this organization. So, I mean, I don't see why we'd be in it unless they actually have physically made changes to the way it runs and everything. I don't understand why. It does not make sense if it is the same people. We obviously shouldn't trust the word. I mean, they were wrong so many times. And it took them that long just to get into China to look at it. It wasn't like, hey, we're coming now. I mean, it took them that over a year. I'm sorry, how much, they're supposed to be the World Health Organization to stop things like pandemics and everything from happening. They really, they just took their word for it, put zero, didn't even, I mean, that should be one of those you should be able to get right into the country to look at it, but no, it took over a year. I'm sorry, that kind of idiocy, we shouldn't be giving them over twice as much money as the next closest country, which is China. Shocker. Unless they have fully proven that they have fixed all the idiocy and the mismanagement and just sheer ridiculousness of everything, that them getting everything wrong with the COVID virus. The whole situation. All of you listening to this turn around and say, yeah, I mean, if you have an honest bone in your body, they've missed everything. They took their word for everything. And if you're honest, you could say it shouldn't have taken over a year for them to get on the ground, as that's their whole purpose, is to take care of stuff like this and to prevent pandemics like this from even happening. Think of the loss of life that happened with them believing everything they heard from the Chinese and just spewing out, well, it's not transmittable from person to person, when obviously it was, very much so. I mean, how many people were screwed at the beginning and died just because of that? That right there is enough for me to not have faith and confidence in giving them all that money. Again, saying, here, go, run with it. I get we pay more. I get it. That whole world economy thing. Turns out that's how, everyone pays in those situations. But, I mean, to just go, yeah, absolutely, I think it's a great thing that we rejoin after everything they just did. Either you don't have an honest bone in your body, or I don't know what it is. But, there's absolutely no reason, in my eyes, to go and just rejoin it. Screw it, we're just going to do it because Trump got out of it. Believe it or not, just because he, got us out of it and dumped them, I mean, that might hurt them, but maybe that should have shown them they need to, do some deep soul searching and fix themselves. Because, again, this is their whole purpose, to be on the planet. Well, they beyond screwed that one up drastically. And even the people that didn't catch it or don't know anyone that caught it, everyone across the board, no matter who they are, has been affected by it. All across the board. And something that, boom, they knew about it. October, November? Of way back in 2019? They knew about it before they even told anyone about it. For a while before, that's one of those, I'm sorry, and they're just they didn't get to go in there and look at anything. They didn't get made aware of it. They just took China's word for it after they hid it for months. You're supposed to be there for the world as the health organization. I'm sorry, you got to do better. Maybe I just expect too much from people. I don't know. Maybe I have higher standards, but the whole world is screwed, and they dropped the ball all the way across the board. So I think there needs to be some drastic changes before we just go and hand them that much money. But I could be the outlier there. I could be crazy. You could agree with me. I don't know. But I just don't like it. Don't like it one bit. Never mind. I might have mentioned the numbers. Never mind the money. Just look at everything that happened because you didn't actually go in there and look, investigate anything. You took everyone's word for it. Like, I mean, the second, like, before it even got here, everyone found out, like, before the world, like, the health said anything that it was transmittable from person to person. Like, it didn't take, like, all but 5 seconds to figure that out all on our own. So, I meant, again, mentioned the money. That really shouldn't matter, but I mean, you taking their word for it, look at all the people that got affected, hurt, tragically lost their lives, because any loss of life, sadly, is tragic, no matter, in 99.99999% of the situations. But this did not have to happen this way. So I think they should be held accountable, and so should, everyone involved, no matter who they are. But again, that's up for debate, it's up for discussion. Everyone has their own different opinion. So it makes us great. People have their own opinion. People can have their own opinion. But I mean, honest bones, if you have, like, any in you could tell that they beyond dropped the ball and caused all kinds of tragedy and havoc all over the world, which we're going to take forever to even try to, like, recover from. So I don't think it's right to use executive order to start throwing all that money back at them unless they have made giant leaps forward in running everything and fixing it, because they have a giant part to play in all of this. But anyway, like, comment, share, tell people, say nothing. I don't care. Do whatever you want. But talk to people. Again, gotta start doing that like adults again. Maybe we can get this country going back in a direction that isn't terrifyingly garbage. And until next time, my people, peace.